The message I have here is short, sweet, and simple. Do not allow Internet ID to take shape. Do not allow this idea to sprout. Do not let this idea grow. Do not allow lawmakers and politicians to pass such a law.
Well, what are you so worked up over? Why the hell are you talking about this?
Well, my dear friend, this is one of the many thoughts I've had enter my head throughout the years. I also briefly mentioned this in my video talking about missing the old internet. The synopsis of that video is me reminiscing over the old days online and how we are slowly but surely seeing a shift online. From people who needed a bit of computer know-how and came from a different creed and they could take a fucking joke and they didn't mind opinions and viewpoints that differed from them, to normal fags who are taking over everything. Your favorite forums that you go to, your preferred social media outlets, your liked video sharing websites, and everything in between. We are also seeing a shift, and it's easily recognizable by the decades. Most of you here watching this video have really only experienced one decade, and that would be the 2010s. But this has been a thing in the works for at least 2 decades. In the 2000s, there was the internet that was run mainly by the users and lurkers of it. People like you and me, where we would just talk, view, and consume the types of media and things we really wanted to see. Or it was the niche news corporations dipping their toes into the internet, or us wanting to be entertained with something funny or interesting, or just browsing forums and image boards. A lot of people like to say that this was the Wild West days of the internet, and I have to agree. You never knew what you were going to stumble across, what types of websites, what types of people, and what types of interactions that could take place. And this was very fun to be part of. When the 2010s started rolling around, mainly the mid to later half of the decade, we started seeing this shift from the internet, from the Wild West to a more corporate internet. As more and more people started using this new frontier of entertainment, companies and corporations started to see this new potential market to sell stuff to. A message could be sent across the world at the click of a mouse, and potentially millions of people could see your advertisement. However, you have problems with this powerful madhouse known as the internet. You have the majority of these people online who do not like normies, and people who the internet hate with a passion, these supercharged people who have the power to say whatever they want, whenever they want, and it could have any opinion that they want. It could be an extreme opinion, it could be a milquetoast one. But there was that risk that your PR advertisement campaign could blow up in your stupid fat fucking face. Your Mountain Dew contest could lead to be calling Hitler did nothing wrong, your polls could be altered to send Justin Bieber to North Korea, or you could just be made fun of for being a robotic NPC trying to seem so cool and hip and trendy, and you just seem so fake that no one really wants to talk to you, and how you really just want to sell your bullshit product to us. Now, this shift is what I call corporate internet. We see corporations trying to work with both the government and internet service providers to try and help them. We see censorship on the daily basis, and it's become normal. After all, when you have detractors and critics criticizing your stupid ass and your stupid fucking products and corporation, that isn't good for business. So, what do? Well, easy. You work behind the curtains to make sure stuff like that isn't going to mess with your bottom line. You talk to the government and you talk to internet service providers to help censor people. After all, the internet is full of icky, racist, sexist people who help influence others. And if they say your product's bad, that means you're gonna suffer. You won't be making any sales. However, you can't force someone to buy your product. So, what else can you do to help your cause? Well, you need to flood the gates of the internet. You need to appeal to the average, boring, normal person. A person who the internet truly despises. Who will help by simply outnumbering the natural base of the internet. People who will help silence and censor radical opinions. Hell, not even radical opinions. Just opinions that go against the grain. You recruit an army of useful idiots. And these useful idiots are mainly leftists, feminists, people who advocate for women's rights, people who support transgenderism, rampant homosexuality, and awful things of that sort. And you want to silence those icky people who dare make fun of your products and brands. You then let these useful idiots get a hold of quote-unquote power positions online. You let them get a hold of adminship, moderators, and other key points for most websites. 4chan, Reddit, etc., the big ones. You then create your own social medias that help instill your propaganda. Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Reset Era, and many more. And the groups that you can't penetrate, you then go to your backup plan, and you put pressure with the government to internet service providers saying that you need to stop supporting these awful, icky websites, or you will be fined or have some form of penalty instilled on you. The Daily Stormer? That's an icky group that we can't stop. That's a hate group. So, if you don't like that being unfairly treated, he's like, hey, wait a minute, I don't like the Daily Stormer getting deplatformed and, having to deal with this crap. Well, by that logic, that must mean you support them and all the messages they're saying, even if you say that you don't support their messages. Or Encyclopedia Dramatica, that website that makes fun of everyone, they too must be dealt with. After about half a decade to a decade of this constant pushing of censorship, deplatforming, and violations of the First Amendment, what happens now? After all, we've helped cull most of the native populations online, but there's still some people saying these awful, icky things. They cling to anonymity, and that tool alone lets them act up. So, what do? Well, here come the 2020s, and now that you've got the government interested in policing the internet, they're not only going to do that, but they're going to make it awful online. They're going to make it a living hell. So, what happens now, you say? Well, I predict the next big step in internet censorship will be real internet IDs. After all, with anonymity, you can say what you want and when you want. What, they ban your account? You just make another one, and you can go under a different handle. Sure, a lot of people won't do that, but some will. So, in order to truly restrict the internet, you need to make it mandatory to have an online ID tied to your real name. That is what I think is going to happen next. In order for you to make an account, or buy something online, or hell, even do anything online, you will be required to have your real life name and ID tied to it. So, if you say or do something that goes against the grain, you can be snuffed out. We can find out where you live, where you work, who do you live with, your family, all of it. And we can make sure your life is ruined for doing something we disagree with. So, my message to you, listener, is to not let that happen. I am tired of everything online. Censorship, deplatforming, financial support being pulled, and how, if you're not anonymous, you have to always constantly step on fucking eggshells. I am tired of it, and I think a lot of people are as well. So, at the very fucking least, don't allow this shit to happen. Please.